It was supposed to be another silent predator in Hitler's underwater fleet. But when U-455 vanished in 1944, no one knew why. 6 decades later, divers found her lying upright, perfectly preserved, her crew still sealed inside. A submarine frozen in time. A mystery the ocean refuses to answer. The Second World War was not only fought on land and in the air. Beneath the surface, in the cold, black waters of the Atlantic and Mediterranean, another war raged, one that strangled supply lines, terrorized sailors, and earned the name the Battle of the Atlantic. At the heart of it were Germany's U-boats, Unterseeboote, the undersea boats. To the Allies, they were wolves of the sea, silent hunters that appeared without warning, struck with torpedoes, and then disappeared beneath the waves. Winston Churchill himself admitted it was the U-boats, not Hitler's tanks or planes, that kept him awake at night. Life aboard these vessels was claustrophobic. A Type 7 U-boat, like U-455, was just 67 meters long and 6 meters wide. A steel tube packed with engines, torpedoes, and 50 men living shoulder to shoulder. The air was thick with diesel fumes, sweat, and the stench of unwashed bodies. Food spoiled quickly. Fresh air was rare. And when submerged, the men could not bathe, shave, or even breathe comfortably. Carbon dioxide built up. The heat from the engines made the air suffocating. Yet despite the misery, they sailed willingly. For some, it was patriotism. For others, the prestige of serving in the elite submarine arm. But most knew the truth. U-boat duty was one of the deadliest assignments in the war. By 1943, over 70% of U-boat crews would never return. U-455 was launched in 1941 at Hamburg, commissioned under the command of Kapitänleutnant Hans Heinrich Giesler. She was a Type 6C, the workhorse of Germany's fleet. With 4 forward torpedo tubes, 1 aft, a deck gun, and flak weapons, she was built for stealth and destruction. Her early missions mirrored those of many U-boats: patrols in the Atlantic, stalking convoys, launching torpedoes, and slipping away before destroyers could retaliate. Successes were broadcast in Nazi propaganda, each sinking framed as proof that Britain could be starved into submission. But by 1943, the tide had turned. Allied radar, sonar, escort carriers, and code-breaking shattered the advantage U-boats once held. Submariners now faced death at every patrol. For U-455 and her crew of 52 men, every mission became a gamble, and in February 1944, they embarked on one that would prove their last. On February 16, 1944, U-455 slipped out of Toulon, France, under cover of darkness. Her orders: patrol the Ligurian Sea off northern Italy. The Allies had recently landed at Anzio, and supply lines ran thick with ships ferrying men, weapons, and fuel. U-455 was tasked with cutting those arteries. Inside the submarine, conditions were tense. Supplies were loaded to the brim. The torpedo tubes were primed. Giesler, a capable officer, had the weight of 52 lives on his shoulders. His men, young and hardened alike, knew the dangers. Allied destroyers prowled constantly. The Mediterranean was not the vast Atlantic. Here, the seas were narrow, crowded, and deadly. For days, U-455 stalked her hunting grounds. She moved silently, periscope just above the waves, searching for Allied convoys. Whenever she surfaced at night, crew scrambled onto the bridge for fresh air, staring at the stars above. To them, the Mediterranean coastlines glimmered with both beauty and menace. But something went wrong. After February 22, 1944, no more signals came from U-455. No radio, no report. She had simply disappeared. The Allies logged no confirmed kill. No depth charge records matched her loss. No survivors washed ashore. It was as if the submarine had been swallowed whole by the sea. Families back in Germany waited for letters that never came. In naval archives, U-455 was marked as missing, presumed lost. For decades, her fate was unknown. A ghost ship, somewhere in the Mediterranean. In 2005, more than 60 years later, Italian divers searching near Genoa made a chilling discovery. On sonar, a long, narrow shadow appeared at 120 meters below the surface. When they descended, flashlights cutting through the dark water, the shape revealed itself. It was a submarine. And not just any wreck. It was remarkably intact. There, resting upright on the seabed, was U-455. Her hull was corroded but whole. Her conning tower stood proud, with anti-aircraft guns still mounted. The hatches were sealed tight, no sign of an escape attempt. Inside, the crew was entombed. 52 men still on patrol, decades after the war had ended. Divers circled the wreck in silence. They noted the eerie stillness. The boat appeared frozen in time. Unlike many U-boat wrecks, which were ripped apart by depth charges or explosions, U-455 showed no massive external damage. How had she died? Theories emerged. Mine strike. The waters off Italy were heavily mined, and one detonation could have crippled the boat. Depth charge. Though no Allied report confirms it, she may have been silently destroyed. Mechanical failure, a CO2 leak, battery explosion, or torpedo accident could have suffocated the crew before they ever had a chance. Whatever the cause, U-455 had become a tomb. Her crew had never escaped. The sealed hatches suggested they died quickly, trapped inside, as their steel coffin drifted to the seabed. For divers, the wreck was declared a war grave. No attempt would be made to enter. The men who vanished in 1944 were still there, untouched, in eternal silence. The discovery of U-455 reignited questions that history had left buried. Why had no record of her destruction existed? Why was the wreck so intact? And what final moments did her crew face inside? Theories swirl, but the truth remains locked behind rusted hatches. Perhaps the crew never even knew what killed them. A sudden explosion, a rush of water, the lights flickering out, death in seconds. Or perhaps they suffocated slowly, batteries leaking deadly fumes, pounding on sealed hatches as oxygen ran out. For families, closure finally came. Their fathers, brothers, and sons had not vanished into nothing. They had been found, yet the pain lingered. U-455 is more than a submarine. She is a monument to the 30,000 German submariners who never returned, a death rate higher than almost any branch of service in World War II. Each wreck, from the Atlantic to the Mediterranean, is a steel grave marker, hidden beneath waves. The story of U-455 reminds us that war is not just fought in victories and defeats. Sometimes it is fought in silence, in forgotten patrols, in the unmarked graves of the sea. Her crew remains on eternal patrol, their boat preserved by salt and silence. The sea has kept their secret for 60 years and may keep it forever. Some mysteries are solved. Others remain sealed in steel and salt water. U-455 lies quietly off Italy's coast, her crew forever waiting. Their story is not of triumph or defeat, but of silence, the kind only the ocean can keep. And that silence may be the loudest echo of all.